Hi, my name is Gladys Stackhouse, and the story I've chosen to speak about is the story of R. Kelly. Uh, I recently reviewed several documentaries on TV, Surviving R. Kelly. Uh, it had like four different series, and it's a quite interesting documentary. Um, R. Kelly was known, whose real name is Robert Kelly, um, is a well-known artist and entertainer. He is said to have practiced some illegal activities with youth, especially young girls. He would hold captive in his home. They say he allegedly held them in his home. I'm going to talk about the victims who are not going to be named as victims, but we're going to call them the survivors because they are survivors. R. Kelly grew up in a troubled home. Uh, just to give a little background on him, uh, you know, which is one of the things that when I look at this case, I think about his his growing up, his childhood, um, and then how he made it like into being a superstar. He wrote songs. He also performed songs, and he was around a lot of famous people. But he had a problem, and some of his family and friends knew he had a problem, and they didn't really come to his aid and try to help him to get the help that he needed. And when I talk about that, I'd like to talk about the healthcare disparity in the people of color community. How sometimes we ignore uh, the mental and emotional problems within our family. I just wanted to bring that part in because then when we talk about restorative justice, we have to realize that something is broken that needs to be restored and needs to be fixed. His life was broken and it needed restoration. And instead of people helping him to overcome and to repair it or restore it, the people that were around him, his brother and his assistant, these people, some of his bodyguards, they would go. They said that he would identify these young girls, and they, in turn, would go hand the young girl a phone number, or sometimes it wasn't a young girl, sometimes it was 18 and over, but they would hand him the phone number. But what I'm saying is, if they knew that the girl looked over underage, why would you, as a grown person, go give your phone number to a little girl? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. That's why when I talk about R. Kelly, and I think about, I don't, I know that most people will probably not agree with me. But I think that the people who gave out the phone numbers or who he helped make the initial contact, I think those people should be considered as part of this crime because they are aided and abetted him with his nasty habit. And I don't know if it seems to me like if I was working for him, I would say, "Hey, man, she looks underage," like, or you know, like steer him in another direction, or like, well, someone did eventually tell on him, and not verbal tell, but they did leave a videotape of him with a underage girl at a news office, and that was a good thing because what you do in the dark will come to the light, and he was a pedophile. They say he allegedly was a pedophile and a trafficker. And these things, when I looked at the stories and the images of seeing all the young ladies crying and the Me Too movement, how they came and tried to help be a part of the situation, and I kept looking at the Netflix site, and it kept saying that they think that the victims were not acting as victims because they had books written. They were getting speaking engagements. Um, Also, I saw where one of the jury persons said that he in no way felt that they were being truthful because of the way they were dressed. Of course, we know that women have the right to dress how they want to dress, but even in the documentary, I have to admit I saw a lot of breasts hanging out, and I don't know. I'm not saying that that made me disbelieve them, but I'm saying you're going for an interview about being sexually assaulted and you have your breasts hanging out. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, I would have dressed moderately, just for the look of things. But that's my personal opinion. But to get back to the story, R. Kelly needed help, and there seemed to be no one there that was really in his corner to say, "Hey, I care about you. Let me help you get some help." But it was like anything goes because that's the lifestyle of the rich and the famous. But everyone has to give an account and be accountable. I was also looking at R. Kelly, the victims, and as the tears streamed down their face on the documentaries, there's like 3 or 4 different documentaries on Netflix. And also, I did look at the organization RAIN.org that speaks of punitive damages and restorative justice when a victim is, when a victim is facing their accuser. And I believe that these young women need to face R. Kelly, and I think that they should receive damages for all the hardship and all the heartache that they went through. I mean, how do you urinate on a child? Like, that is sick. And he's not the only one sick. There are numerous people in the world that are doing disgusting things to children. And I was looking at the just some of the I just become so overwhelmed because I was a former teacher, and it just overwhelms me when I look at that. And how do we allow this to happen? How do we allow children that we're supposed to be protecting? How do we allow them? You saw the stuff was going on. It's not until now that we're doing something about it. And also the pedophiles that are legally getting away with this activity. I also did some research, and I found out that there are some states in the United States that you can actually take a child bride at 13. These laws need to be revised. How does a grown man make love to a child? Like, that's really crazy to me. But these are my opinions. But as far as the letter of the law, and as I was saying, I think that these young ladies should be compensated financially. Yes, they may have gotten speaking engagements, writing books, and all this kind of stuff. But the pain that I saw, the pain almost broke me because it just was so overwhelming. And then when I think about the Me Too unit, how the Me Too organization came aboard to help these ladies, and that was a good thing. But then when I think, how does R. Kelly, a minority, I don't want to say a minority, he's not a minority, a man with a lifestyle that many of us could never even fathom, how does he become the poster child for pornography, for trafficking, when we have so many Epsteins and Gates and people in the world that are going to Brazil and being with little boys and little girls, and trafficking? What has happened that has caused so many to get on board and say, R. Kelly, he's the one? He's not the only one. And I pray that the others will be exposed as well as him. Thank you so very much, uh, classmates. Thank you to the professor. Thank you, Trinity. And once again, my name is Gladys Stackhouse. Uh, I have a lot of thoughts running through my head as I make this video, but I tried to stay on point. Thank you.